Hi there, my name is Ramsha and welcome to my YouTube channel. Lately I've been learning and figuring a lot about myself. The mistakes, the lessons, all of it. So I've decided to share my reflection with honesty and clarity. And I want to take you guys along with me, hoping that if you see yourself in them, they might help you relate, reflect and grow with me as well. So let's talk about the part that you have been running from. The part that is too heavy to carry, the part that is too dark to even speak about, and the part that convinced you that you are not allowed to exist, smile, or even breathe until you have proven yourself. You know what it feels like to hate your reflection so bad that even your own shadow disgusts you. I know what it feels like to quietly shrink into yourself, pretending to be invisible even when the whole world is still moving around you. And today I want to tell you a story, my story, not because it's unique, but because I think maybe in it you'll see yourself and realize that surviving is not shameful and that hiding does not make you weak. And even in the darkest times, your life is worth everything. Sometimes I think about how I started pausing my happiness for the future, postponing it. And those happiness weren't just, random or huge things, or just tiny little things that people like to keep going. And I kept saying all those years that I'll do this and that after I clear this exam. And in the meantime, I sacrificed my health, sacrificed my physical health, mental health, healing, and all the other things people does to stay normal. I stopped brushing my hair for days until it was necessary. And I remember I stopped taking regular baths because I thought it would take so much time from me and I don't have that much time to lose. I stopped texting friends. I stopped showing my face. I stopped going out. Not that I was ever allowed to, but even if I could, I chose not to. Felt like I don't deserve to sit around people who are laughing together, spending some time together. I attached myself but so tightly to it that it eventually stole years from me. I literally blamed myself for every bad thing that had happened to me. I kept punishing myself secretly, using social media, going out, talking, smiling. Nothing was on my list. I was just doing three things: eating once in a day, sometimes once in 3 days, and that was part of my punishment as well, studying and sleeping. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I was so afraid that even my own reflection would make me extremely uncomfortable because I wasn't the person I wanted to be. And even if someone come to me and said something cruel, something rude, I never flinched. Not because I didn't care, but because I hated myself more than anyone ever could. Their words only confirm what I was already saying to myself. I stopped fighting for myself, correcting people's perspective. I didn't care to feel any resentment towards them. My mind was like, that must be it. Yeah, that's true. Because in my head, I kept saying mean things to myself. I almost vanished from the world. People who know me still ask me why they don't see me around and why I hide. Someone said that I'm untraditional, I have no manners, I'm rude, arrogant, selfish. Little did they knew that I was constantly fighting my own battles. I don't know if there's a worse combination when you are in such mindset and the environment keeps throwing these questions at you. I felt guilty for taking any time for myself. I felt immense amount of shame giving time to anything else. Even eating felt like wasting time. And until my stomach growled, I didn't care to eat. I tried so hard to make up for the time I hadn't studied in the past that I overexerted myself. 3 years of pure exhaustion, then pure burnout. I didn't even knew what was happening to me until my therapist said, "You are burnt out." I had no idea there was a such thing until he explained the word to me, burnout. He said, "Ramsha, you are highly ambitious." And for a moment it felt like validating, like someone has finally noticed the fire in me. But then he flips it and said, "That's nothing to be proud of, because ambition without self-compassion leads to burnout." Being highly ambitious often means that you never feel done. You hit one goal, then immediately you feel like you're lagging behind for not catching up the next one. You can't rest without guilt because constantly your mind is saying, Someone out there is doing more, and it becomes a race with no finishing line. Eventually your body, mind and emotion shuts down. It's burnout. And that kind of ambition doesn't fill you, it drains you. I told him that I was not like this before. And I have worked hard in my previous exams. And I broke down in front of him, asking in confusion why and how I turned out this way. I can't really enjoy anything. And I still remember his reply. He said, Ramsha, ambition is admirable, but this quality should not come at the cost of your peace or health. Many ambitious people, especially those who have been hurt or undervalued, chase goals not because they love them, but because they want to prove something to themselves, to someone who have doubted them, or to a world who made them feel not enough. Our culture loves to praise unstoppable, hardworking, sleepless people, but oftentimes those people are hurting. At that time, I didn't know whether to feel proud or guilty for being the way I was, but now I think what he meant wasn't to shame my ambition. He just made me realize that even the brightest flame can burn itself out if it's not tended with care. Listen, you didn't ruin your life because you were lazy. You ruined it because you kept postponing it. You kept saying, I'll start living only after I achieve this. And that's how people disappear. By waiting for a version of themselves that never arrives. You tell yourself, I'll be happy when I achieve this. But I think you made self-respect a reward, not a right. You treated yourself like a criminal on probation. You can only laugh if you earn it. You can only rest if you have proven yourself. That's not discipline. It's self-hatred in disguise. You don't earn the right to eat, rest, or smile. You're just born with that. You convinced yourself that you don't deserve the basic human rights until you have proven yourself. That's not ambition. It's emotional slavery. You built an identity around punishment. You called it discipline because that sounded noble. But tell me, what did it give you beside exhaustion? You weren't chasing the goal. You were trying to prove that you are allowed to exist, loved, and smile like others through that goal. No one was forcing you anymore. You became your own captive. The voices in your head, whoever it was, maybe a parent, a teacher, or someone who ended up making you feel never enough. You downloaded it and now it lives inside you, whispering on loop, never enough, not enough, work harder. You are disgusting. You don't deserve to rest. You basically locked yourself in a mental cage, threw away the key, and called it self-discipline. You thought you were building a discipline, but actually you were building a control system. You confused fixing mistakes with destroy myself. When you slipped up, you didn't corrected your thought process. You didn't think, okay, this didn't work, I'll try better. You thought, I'm dumb, I'm useless, I'm worthless, and I need to suffer to make it right. That's not growth, that's emotional self-harm dressed up as accountability. Every sleepless night, every skipped meal, every hour of isolation, it feels like you're being tough on yourself, but actually you're just feeding your guilt. You thought that one day the gods of success would notice your suffering and reward you. They didn't. That's why no amount of studying or effort ever felt enough. Because guilt doesn't end. Didn't eat properly? Good, that means I'm working hard. Didn't sleep? Good, that means I'm serious. Didn't talk to people? That means I'm focused. No, that means you have lost control. Every time you rest, eat, or smile, the voices in your head whispers, you haven't earned this. And the worst part is you obey. You think that's self-control? To me, it's just slavery. You don't hate yourself because you have failed. You hate yourself because you have built a version of you who believes that she deserved respect when she's perfect. You became invisible not because people ignored you, but because you erased yourself first. You didn't want to be seen because you believed I don't deserve to exist. You kept avoiding people thinking I don't believe I'm worthy of connection. You convinced yourself that if you made yourself small enough, invisible enough, then finally you'd be good. It was easier for you to be hidden and avoidant than to accept that you were afraid of being seen. So you stayed silent. You let them call you arrogant, selfish, and cold. But you can't be good by disappearing. You kept teaching people that you're not worth noticing. The same exact thing your toxic mind kept screaming at you. And that's how, instead of starving that toxic mindset, you kept feeding it. You believed that if you just suffered enough, one day the universe would say, okay, you have paid your dues, here's the piece. No, pain doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't keep score. You can bleed for years and still get nothing in return. Because pain isn't currency. If it's anything, then it's coercion. You don't earn happiness by suffering. You earn it by being conscious. And consciousness means realizing when you are the one holding the knife. Pain doesn't make you stronger when it's chosen for the wrong reason. It makes you weak, dumb, and slow. Your brain literally start shutting off the joy, creativity, and memory because it's in emergency mode. And the most ironic part is you are killing yourself to live better. You have to forgive yourself first and look at reality with cold clarity. You have wasted years trying to be perfect enough to start living. So here's the blunt logic. If you can waste years not living, then you can also start living without earning it. Now let that sink in. You don't need to feel deserving, you just need to function. So the next time when that voice says, you don't deserve rest, you answer it logically. Starving myself slows me down. Eat because your body needs fuel. Rest because your body is your machinery. Socialize because isolation is a slow suicide. Study because knowledge builds option, not because it buys redemption. No emotions, no guilt, just facts. This is how I reclaim my control. By replacing emotional based rules with functional ones. And remember, you don't need to feel worthy to act worthy. Stop thinking that the universe will compensate you for pain. It won't. You don't earn peace as a reward. You get it when you stop fighting the unnecessary battles. And remember this exam is not God. You were never supposed to disappear to prove that you mattered. You're already enough, even in the silence when no one is clapping for you. You deserve to exist without earning it every day. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care of yourself.